This is the Juicy Good Life, the greatest hits of personal and business growth, packaged for you in a time that's shorter than your shower. I'm Sarah Stokes, and here are your strategies for stress and success. Hello, and welcome to the Success with Sanity webinar. I am Sarah Stokes, the founder of the Juicy Good Life and co-owner and senior strategist at Stokes Herzog Marketing and Consulting, and I'm coming to you from our sunny office in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And I want to dig right in because one of the things you are pressed with is time, right? And stress. So what I am not going to do is waste any of your precious time. I am here to deliver hopefully 10 wonderful strategies that you can implement immediately in your life and get building that juicy good life. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. So we're going to start our screen share right now and dig in. So here we go. It's going to be wonderful. I am going to sign off on camera and just let the webinar speak for itself on the slides. Okay, so I will see you at the end. This is Success with Sanity because that's what we want in the end. And so thank you for taking time out of your busy day to spend this time with me, and I'm going to make it worth your while. I gave this talk not too long ago to human resources executives, and it was absolutely so fun to talk with them about this, and I hope you get the same out of it as well. So we are going to dig right in, and you are going to learn 10 free and easy ways to step off your hamster wheel and build success and happiness in your life and business, and exactly how you can avoid or recover from burnout to build a love-filled and abundant life so you have energy left over at the end of the day to build success. And if you need help with that, just hop on over to thejuicygoodlife.com/webinar. It is literally what we are here to do. Our mission is to help you embrace a life you love and create it with ease and grace so that you enjoy your world more. This is my world. There's my husband and two beautiful children. Canyon is the little boy and Cadence is our little girl. And this is Chris's last night on air at our WEAU TV station in Eau Claire. He and I were co-anchors for a long time together, nearly a decade. And you can see the joy on my face as we were just about to jump into business for ourselves. And it was frightening, but we did it for those two little blondies right there. So who am I and why should you care? Well, here's my street cred. From 1996 to 2013, I was a TV news anchor, reporter, producer, you name it, videographer, editor. You do it all when you're in the TV news biz. And I had a wonderful career doing that. Did not anticipate myself leaving that. I thought I could do all of it and do all of it well. But the reality of television news is that, you know what? We worked nights. I anchored the 5, 6, 9, and 10 o'clock newscasts, and I had two little tiny pumpkins in daycare, and they wanted their mama at bedtime. So how did that happen? Well, we segued in 2013 and built 4 businesses since then. So we've been busy. We've sold one of them successfully and are currently building the other 3. And you are listening to one of those businesses webinars right now, The Juicy Good Life. We have built a successful marketing and PR consulting agency, and now I am blessed to be able to call for $1,000 an hour to consult with me on your big issues. So if companies have major PR and marketing issues, they ask my husband and I to come consult. And a lot of times we are under the radar consultants. Nobody will ever know we worked there, and help them out. And then we have 12 full-time team members doing the day-to-day amazing marketing for many small, medium, and large companies around the U.S., and we are just blessed to have them in our lives. I am now a national professional speaker. I've been doing that for years now and have been blessed to earn multiple business and lifetime achievement awards in our region, which is amazing. And that's why I built The Juicy Good Life. You're looking at a screen capture right now of some of our video thumbnails. We are essentially life and business coaching made simple in small videos that you can watch when you need them from many wonderful coaches out there in the nation who I have called upon to help me build my juicy good life over the last 5+ years. So, where do you start today? I need you to take a second and breathe. I'm going to do it too, okay? We're going to take 3 deep breaths together because most of us take in air, but we don't really breathe. So, it takes 3 inhales and exhales to go from stressed and fight or flight, to rest and digest. So, here we go. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. Ready? All right. Now that you have dropped from your head to your heart, you can better grasp the concepts we're going to talk about today. I'm also hoping that, you might have a magazine open. You see my cute little screen here with donuts, pencils, nail polish, and a magazine. It's cute, but I hope that you have actually cleared your workspace right now and just listen and drop into your heart from your head and say to yourself, where am I at? On a scale of 1 to 10, how energized are you typically at home or work these days? Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being not energized, can barely get off the couch. 10 being eye of the tiger, baby. I've got nothing in my way. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm amazing. Got this down pat. So most of us are going to fall somewhere in between there. And if you're falling 6 or below, I think, you are in the right place. If you are between a 6 and a 10 on scale of how energized you are, then amazing. You are on that, that upswing. And now you can really just elevate yourself even higher if you want. So you're all in the right place. But if you're 6 or below, I'm hoping that you take some of these strategies and implement them immediately. If you're between a 6 and a 10 or even off the charts, then great. I want to help you build an even juicier good life than you have right now. Here are some actual statistics. 23% of employees are reporting feeling burned out at work very often or always. 44% are feeling burned out sometimes. That's a lot. And nearly 50% of workers say they've checked out. When you are burned out, you check out. And that costs our companies about $500 billion a year. And so no matter where you are on the scale, or if you have a team, or if you're on a team, if you're a solopreneur, or you've got people around you, these are numbers to pay attention to because it is impacting everything we do. And burned out people at work are more likely to take a sick day. We see that in our operation for sure. When people are not in love with their life, or even feeling juicy at all, they are way more likely to call in sick. 23% more likely to visit the ER, though, the emergency room, and 2.6 times as likely to leave their job, which, if you have a team or if you're on a team, when people leave, it's disruptive. And then you're 13% less confident at work. Whether you are on your own or with a team, this is a big deal because when we're less confident, nothing really flows. So here's, speaking of a flow chart, you see I've had a few things going on. On the left is when I left television news for my own enterprise, which at the time we bought a women's magazine in the area. There's my husband unloading 22,000 magazines off the back of a semi, and I'm taking the pictures and also unloading. My little pumpkins are helping us deliver them. And that was a blissful time because you're in the newlywed stage. Then you see we start Stokes, our marketing agency, in 2014, and you see we add team members down in the bottom center. We're still doing Queen of the Castle magazine, and holy smokes, things are getting crazy. Got 2 babies, 2 businesses, team members are building, and we're just ramping up crazy. And that's where my burnout happened, right there in 2014. So think about where your burnout is happening, or if you are bouncing back from one, if you feel like you're on the cusp of one, you can see, what do you got cooking in your life? What wheels are going to fall right off your bus? And I'm blessed to say now in the far right, 2019 and 2018, we got systems in place. I learned how to navigate my own boundaries, and we sold our magazine. We concentrated on one business, and that is what led to more space and energy for me to build my mission in life, which is the juicy good life, to help other people discover how to love their life more while still being successful and still making an impact in the community and loving our kids and loving our spouses and just enjoying life more. We did not come here to hate this. We came here to enjoy this, and it's no joke. So red arrow for me right there. That's when I implemented the strategies we teach in the Juicy Good Life. So if you need help with that, just hop on over to our website and think about where your burnout might be. And I hope you haven't experienced it, but even overwhelm, whatever word you want to replace there. So what are you going to teach me, Sarah? Well, we're going to start with strategies for stress. My number one thing that really helps me go back to the basics is alignment. What do I mean by that? Meaning I am lined up with what I believe, my values are in place, what's important to me is happening. I am not dreading anything. So that's why I have these check boxes here for you. I want you to stop and take a moment here. If you want to pause the webinar, great. I would suggest writing these down for yourself. What do you dread? Look around and what's not working in your life. What is not working? And then finally, we are signing up for stuff we don't want to do all over the place. That is the opposite of alignment. So I hope you took a second to pause this webinar and write down these things, because honestly, we're going to get to the end of it and you're going to say, what did she say? What was that first thing? And then when we don't actually write things down, it doesn't process as well in our brains. So the reason I ask those questions is, what do you dread? Tells you it's a sign you're out of alignment. When you look around your life with an open heart and mind and see what's not working and make a list of it, that is going to show you how you can pop back into alignment. You can do it, you can delegate it, or you can delete it. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So look around at what's not working. You know what's not working. It might be hard to write it down. It might be hard to admit it. And then for sure, doing, delegating, and deleting is a whole nother ballgame. And I get that. I honor how difficult some of this is. And then stop signing up for stuff you don't want to do. This is something where my grief in life, I've had tragedy in my life, and you probably have too. Our loved ones or our special people who have left this earth too soon would look down and say, why do you keep signing up for stuff you don't want to do? You're supposed to love life. So I want to give you tools for that. And here's where I started, because no was not something I knew how to say. It was not something ingrained in me. I now start with, thank you. I'll think about it. This is an honor. Thank you. I mean, how many committees do you get approached about joining? How many volunteer opportunities come at you? And I used to say yes to every single thing, and then I'd be tapped out and too de-energized for the stuff that really is in my values. So now I say, thank you so much. I appreciate you thinking of me. Let me think about that. Or if it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no. And now I know my core values, and I know that there are certain nonprofit entities, there are certain fundraisers that are like, I'm all in. For me, it's, anything with kids, anything with women. That is what I think I'm here to help with. And so if it's an extraneous thing that I don't feel like will really use my gifts, then I'm going to go ahead and bow out. Because what happens when we say yes to too many things is we don't leave enough energy for the stuff we want to do on this earth. So start with thank you. I'll think about it. And that at least gives you a buffer of time to see if you're in alignment with it. If you believe you will dread it, don't do it. It's a sign you will not be in alignment. Okay, we're going to keep trucking here. So strategies for stress, and do not roll your eyes because you've seen these a million times. Believe me, I've been there. I remember in my burnout time, I Googled things on YouTube, or I checked on YouTube for strategies for stress, working moms, stress. And the answer the woman came up with was get up earlier. And at the time, I was getting like 4 hours of sleep with 2 babies at home, one who was still nursing. And I remember just being so annoyed. So hear me out. Don't turn this off. We're going to talk about how to get more sleep, what fuel actually means. I am not here to just preach, eat your broccoli and go to bed and drink water and that's it. and moving. Again, these are things that I have taken into account for the real person in you. So stay with me. It's going to be worth it. Sleep. There's my hubby with a brand new baby in the hospital. Of course, he's sleeping and I'm taking a picture. Hilarious. That's okay. He's holding our sweet daughter. 43% of us between the ages of 13 and 64 report lying awake at night due to stress at least once in the past month. Has this happened to you? I'm guessing it's a yes. And our 13-year-olds even, I remember maybe lying awake talking to my boyfriend with the long phone cord pulled down the hallway so nobody could hear me. But this is about stress. I mean, we are living in an anxious culture these days. That is not juicy. So how do we add more rest? Do you have a case of not enough time? I sure did. I wore a badge of honor, sleeping 4 hours a night and running a business and raising babies and trying to do it with no childcare. And whoa, I was a super martyr. I loved my busy badge. But you know what? I lost a few years there. I don't even remember. So if you're feeling that, this is how we're going to get around your case of not enough time. Here's what I have done. The news lady went on a news diet. And please don't tell my hardworking colleagues in the TV news industry that I do this, but I had to stop watching the news. First of all, it's going to take an hour out of your life, especially at bedtime if you're watching the late news. Second of all, it made me sad. I mean, I made a living doing this, but what I realized is I never feel better after watching the news. And so I want you to take a hard look at this and replace news with Netflix. Replace news with fighting with my spouse. I mean, anything that keeps you up past your bedtime, let's look at how to cut that out. But I found that it just drained me. It made me feel like the world was a scary place. I then started making decisions out of fear with my kids, and that's not a world I want to live in. And once I stopped watching news, I really started finding my positivity climbing back to a level that I felt great about my neighborhood again and our town again and our nation again. Because honest to goodness, you will find out. So one of the excuses I hear all the time is, well, I need to be informed. Yeah, I literally work in PR. So I'm going to stay abreast of things for our clients, no problem. But I do not need to know every pedophile in our state. It makes me scared and it makes me sad. So if you're finding you're out of alignment with whatever you're consuming, just cut it out. I have not missed it. Any giant news comes across my social media feed or someone will inform me of it. And then I can dig in if I need to. But I find myself literally crying because every child becomes my child. And maybe you're the same. I cannot take it anymore. So I went on a news diet. Guess what? I earned back like an hour and a half of sleep. I do not do well if I take social media to bed with me at night. It's almost like a bag of Oreos for me. It won't go well if I have access to it. So I have started skipping social at night where I just, I do it while I'm cooking dinner, whatever. And again, we run a social media agency, but I can get plenty of that in other ways. When I take it to bed, I end up going down the rabbit hole. I think 1 or 2 skims of Instagram is going to do it, but then pretty soon an hour and 45 minutes goes by and I'm mad at myself that I didn't go to sleep. Because when I sleep, I can conquer the world the next day. And then the joke that, every grandmother told us as we were raising babies is sleep when they sleep, right? Hilarious when they're infants and don't sleep. But now that my kids are a little bit older, they're 6 and 8 at the recording of this webinar, I now tell them to start getting ready for bed. And then I too put my jammies on, and it's actually quite a joyful bonding experience. So what I mean by this is when you start telling your kiddos, if you have them, to get ready for bed, you start getting ready for bed too. It's actually bonding. We brush our teeth together. We put on jammies together. I'm more in the mode of reading to my kids at night when I'm ready for bed at the same time versus feeling like it's interrupting dishes or work. And it has become a joyful little ritual that we do. And I am a much better mom and a much better boss lady when I sleep. So find a way to actually go to bed when your kids do. And I promise you that whatever you're doing after they sleep, unless you are in the grind of survival mode in your business, and that's the only time you get to work, sleeping when they sleep will reap rewards. Because I know that it saves me like 1,000 calories, because when they go to sleep, it's like, ooh, I can eat all the stuff I don't let them eat. Well, that's not great for my life. And then I also watch junky TV, and it just doesn't build me up. It doesn't help me become the person I want to be. I love, great sitcoms and stuff. And when you need that, go ahead. But what I find is it was just a habit and a numbing habit. I was numbing out to the world. Well, guess what? Sleep, you also can escape the world per se, but you benefit your health and your life. And then the other thing I did, which has been great, because when you're tired, reading instead of TV, you're asleep like mid-paragraph. And then it's a nice, wonderful thing to put into your brain, hopefully, unless you're reading some gory, scary stuff. I read a personal or professional growth book, and it lulls me into sleep. And I have sweeter dreams because I'm not putting scary stuff into my brain at night. And it puts me right to sleep, just like when your little ones would nod off at the end of a story. So those are my simple, just high level, easy ways to get more sleep put into our life. So we talked about sleep. What is fuel? Fuel comes in all kinds of forms. Let's talk about that. You can't pour out of an empty pitcher. This is a cute picture of my babies in the tub. There's Katie with her little blue pitcher. Well, it's full. You know why? Because she's living a juicy good life in that tub. Life is good. Everything's taken care of. She's soaking in a tub with their big brother who she loves. And mommy's totally paying attention to her. Well, when's the last time you felt like your pitcher was full? This is literally the best piece of business advice I have ever gotten, and life advice. Came from my dear friend, Dr. Jody Rich of the Joyful Doc Clinic. She is one of our featured life coaches, actually, in the Juicy Good Life. And she told me this long ago when I was, really stressed and really at the end of my rope. She's like, Sarah, you cannot pour out of an empty pitcher. It means if we haven't filled up our own pitcher or put on our own oxygen mask first, however you want to say it or think of it, we have nothing left to pour out for our families, our businesses, our communities, our friends, our spouses. We have nothing left. You literally cannot pour out of an empty pitcher. So I want you to think of that the next time you say no to something that would fill your pitcher and be a self-care moment. So fuel can come in so many forms. Fuel is great friends who make you laugh and feel like yourself, and where time just flies. Fuel can also be solo time and rest when we don't get it. Fuel can be nature time. A lot of us just need to get outside and be with the trees and the grass and the birds. Fuel can be fun and recreation. A lot of us get fueled up by going out and having a blast, or going whitewater rafting, or just even, getting on our bike. Fuel is obviously healthy food. I am not your nutritionist, but I can tell you that I feel so much different when I eat well than when I eat crummy. Hobbies are our fuel, and pampering. So a lot of people think of self-care as literally like a facial and a manicure and a pedicure. Yes, it is, but I think many of us are evolving past that and knowing that this list is all fuel, even though it doesn't seem like, the mainstream media's idea of self-care. It's not always just a mani-pedi. Sometimes it's getting outside and breathing and listening to the birds. So what also fills that pitcher? These are some of my favorite tools that, the Juicy Good Life is all about. I merge my soul with my success. And these are 3 things that I want to help you do. I want to give you permission slip to do these 3 things. So again, I want you to get get really clear. If you have scrolled off and opened a few more windows and you're just listening to this, I'm probably talking at too soothing of a pace to even, keep your attention if you have any other things going right now. So if you would, just give yourself a moment to listen to this advice. And this advice has come from all of the people who I've pulled in to help me create my own juicy good life. Setting expectations, setting intentions, and following your gut. So this is a busy screen, but it has a lot of information. So what do I mean by setting expectations? This is where my husband and I have really paved the way, and now I do it with every aspect of my life. But my hubby and I have been together, have worked together since 2002. Okay, well, guess what? We are two very different personalities, as you may be with whomever your loved one is. And it really can be a conflict sometimes. So here's what we do now. We started with weekends because we'd get like 11 a.m. Saturday morning and be at each other's throats like bicker city because we didn't expect the same thing from our weekend. So I was thinking we were doing, house cleanup, and he's thinking we're going shopping. Okay, what? Here's what we do now. Come Friday or before, we say, what are you expecting from this weekend? And that's when we get a chance to say what we want. So I'm going to say, you know what? I want to be at the lake, and I fully anticipate just being on the boat and doing nothing and no working. And he'll say, oh, okay, well, I was really thinking I need to do X, Y, and Z, and I'd like to come home early Sunday. And then if the expectations don't meet, we compromise ahead of time, and then everybody's good, because this will help you avoid draining conflict, bickering, and disappointment. The holidays are a perfect time to do this with your family. We will talk, of course, more about this in our Juicy Good Life coaching, but if you think about some holidays where people just are off or crabby or whatever, it's probably because they're disappointed and their expectations weren't met in one way or another. Now, do you have to meet everyone's expectations? Absolutely not. I fully endorse you putting yours first. But whether it's a weekend, a family trip, a holiday, or a meeting, I love to say, what's our intended outcome here? Or what are your expectations of Christmas this year? Well, I really want lefse, and I really want deviled eggs, and I really want this. And then see what you can fulfill. But I can tell you that when we just avoid this and get nervous about it and skip it, we will feel drained and disappointed. And then the next one about setting intentions, and I'm imagining you've read ahead if you're an achiever, but I want you to go back to the second set of words there. Setting intentions. This is powerful stuff. You will notice a difference. So what is an intention? It is literally you thinking ahead of what you want to have happen. Do this before big moments like big sales meetings, big speeches, big, questions you need to ask. Set the intention, and you will work towards achieving it subconsciously. Okay, so let's use an example. Let's use a simple everyday example. I am coming from work to home. That is a transition. I need to set an intention, or I'm going to be reactive. And reactive is not my favorite. Reactive is where we fall into old patterns of, not great behavior. So when I am, and admittedly, I do not do this every day, but I'm growing and going for it. So I'm going to learn along with you. When I'm going from boss lady to mom, that is a big transition. And my kids are little and they're young, and they're not going to be, they're not going to be in corporate mode. They're in creative mode. So I need to get an intention set to get in creative mode. So I'm driving home, pulling in the driveway. What's my intention as a mom? My intention as a mom is to be fully attentive and excited right along with them and there and present. Guess what? If I do nothing, I pull in the driveway. Mom, what's for supper? Mom, look what so-and-so did to me. Look at my Band-Aid. And then pretty soon you're already like, you're frazzled. If I set the intention that I'm all in, my purse is set down, my phone is unavailable, I now am a mom that is excited to come home to them. So fill in the blank for you, whatever your transitions are during the day. And this could literally be walking into somebody's office that maybe you don't get along with, or picking up a phone call you're dreading. Set the intention before you hit answer. And do this for everything. And again, I'll just say, if you need help with this, if you want help with this, that is totally available in our Juicy Good Life membership. We talk a lot about intentions for sales. We talk about intention for team building, and it's a huge part of this. But I think it is just one free way to change your day. And then finally, following your gut. Oh my goodness. How many times have you had that urge to do something, then you either forget or you don't, and then it bites you? Here in our marketing agency at Stokes Herzog, I preach this to our project managers. They handle clients every single day. And I say, hey, if you have a client popping into your brain for some reason, listen, there's a reason. They need something, or something is happening. I want them to follow their gut. And guess what? When they don't, I mean, now it's just part of our culture where we say, you know what? I didn't listen last week. I was going to send this out, and they asked me for it before I got a chance to send it to them. And here we love to bliss out our clients. So that's a moment where it's like, you know what? Follow your gut. I do it in my life and in my business, and it's wonderful. And the piece of that really helps me, and I have a funny story associated with that, but when people show you who they are, believe them. Because how many of us get involved in folks who just drain our pictures? And I am not talking about you being a victim here. I am talking about saying yes when we mean no to somebody in our life, whether it's a friendship, a loved one, a client, a job that doesn't resonate. When people show you who they are, believe them, because they will show you within seconds, really, of meeting them who they are, unless they're just unbelievably nervous, and they normally are, comfortable. But we see this in hiring, and it bites us every time. When we ignore red flags in interviews, like we talk it away or we excuse something, and this is not big stuff, this is simple stuff, but here's an easy, memorable moment for you that I want you to remember. We had a fellow who was a sweet dude, and we needed him to do a job that required speed and really being super productive. And we explained it in the interview. He thought, yes, I can do that. He said everything right, and we thought he could do it. And we talked about his personal life, and he said he had a turtle as a pet. And so why the heck am I bringing up this guy's story to you? Well, because what is a turtle? A turtle is slow. And guess what? This fella was really, really slow, and he needed to do a fast job, and I didn't pick up on it. Now, when I look back on it, it's just a funny way for me to demonstrate this point. Now, should you discriminate against people who have turtles? Absolutely not. I would not have done that. But it's just one silly moment where my gut was showing me, dude's going to be slow. He takes it slow. He doesn't have a greyhound dog. He's got a turtle, and that's his speed probably. So I could have asked more questions. I could have been more clear, and it would have, been a better situation. But that's just one thing where, when people show you who they are, just believe them. It will save you so many draining moments. Okay? You still with me? All right. So we're talking about moving now. And there's my dear goal mate. So what is a goal mate? It's like a soulmate for your goals, right? Jody and I knew we needed to get to the gym. We needed to move our bodies. And neither of us was doing it on our own. So we decided we were each other's goal mates. Now, I hope you have a goal mate. If you don't have one, get one. Just even a texting buddy who you can text accountability to. Make a Facebook group, whatever. Just find some way to work a goal mate in. Why has that helped me? Because you know what? 9 times out of 10, if I don't want to go work out for myself, I want to show up for her. So that has helped me. And it is proven. Running for 15 minutes a day, if you're a runner, or walking for an hour, reduces the risk of major depression by 26%. Now, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but when we're trying to build success with sanity, which is the very main point of this whole webinar, it really will require you to be freeing up more energy. And the way I have done that is by working out in the morning. You can see the moon is still behind us, and we had already put in our work. And now, do I look like a fitness model? No. But do I show up for myself every single day because I know that I'll have more energy for my kids and my businesses? You bet. So I cannot ignore the moving part. Now, when you are ready, it will happen for you. If you're not ready, push yourself a little. It took me 2.5 years of going to the gym every day to feel like a legit gym girl, right? I had a whole bunch of stories around that. We'll talk about more stories in a future webinar, but it's something that you will notice really actually makes a difference. So how can you move your body? You don't have to run for 15 minutes, but I just wanted to show you that statistic and how a Goalmate has helped me. So thank you, Goalmate. All right, we've talked about our strategies for stress. Now it's time to talk about our strategies for success. And all of these are both and, right? The 80-20 rule. Have you heard of the 80-20 rule before? It is called the Pareto principle. And it literally guides everything that we do here at Stokes Herzog and in our life. It makes a lot of sense. Here's what it is, if you haven't heard about it yet. 80-20 rule, like the law of gravity, what they have found since a century ago is 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. That means, 20% of your customers might bring in 80% of your revenue. 20% of the people cause 80% of the problem. It falls in line. 20% of what you do in a current day makes 80% of your results. So you hear about that, Americans work like really only 3 out of 8 hours of the day. Well, no wonder if we all stayed in our top 20 is what we call it here, you could have a short work day. So that's delicious information. And this is how I've scheduled my calendar now. Is it in my top 20? If it is, I'm putting it first. And that's going to move my needle. I'm really pushing that with our team too. Guys, work in your top 20. And everybody who's an achiever here just cannot handle that list not getting done. So we got to work in our top 20. So how do we do it? How do you find out? Well, look at your life right now and say, what gets me the best results? For me, it's going to be creating content, writing, meeting with clients, doing video. What's yours? What gets you the best results? And then gut check on that. If you're watching this webinar because you feel overwhelmed, you're probably not working in your top 20. I bet you're trying to do all of it all the time, and your top 20 waits till the end, and then you're worn out and shaming yourself, possibly. Just saying. That might just be me. Maybe it's not you. But how often are you actually working on that top activity? If you do nothing else and you just shift to working more in your top 20 more of the time, you are going to move the needle in your business and in your life. Because if my top 20 is really keeping my kitchen clean, but I'm constantly working on the basement storage room and my kitchen is ignored, guess what? My life's still in chaos, even though I'm doing. So, okay, Sarah, what do I do with my bottom 80? And again, I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. Delegate it or delete it if you can. I am still not a deleter. I keep my to-do list like cordoned off. I have, today, tomorrow, this week, and maybe never. Those are my 4 sections. And I haven't ever deleted my maybe never, but I don't do it. So someday I'm going to get grown up enough to just delete stuff. Or, you end up building enough of a team where you can get your deletable stuff actually done if it's really important to you. But delegate it. Delegate it if you can. Keep working in your top 20. You will make more money and have a better life in your top 20 for sure. And finally, say no. It is a complete sentence. If somebody's coming to you with something that is way not in your top 20, I'll say bottom 80. Again, I don't want you to judge the words we're using here. Just kind of get the concept. Say no. Just say, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm really dedicating my top 20 right now. And actually, I'm taking an entire month to just devote to my top 20. So what does that mean for me? That means that Meetings that are not in my top 20 are waiting till a month from now, because I have worked in my bottom 80 for so long that I'm just worn out again. And so I'm taking my own advice and I'm carving out time to do that. Finally, you have made progress. And now the seriously simplest thing you can ever do for your business and your life is to celebrate your wins. And here's a stat that really got my attention and had me preaching this from the minute I read this book. How Full Is Your Bucket is a great fast read. You can read it in 45 minutes. But inside that book, I learned that 65% of Americans received no recognition for good work in the past year. Now, I hope since this book was last updated that number has changed, but still, 65% of us got no good job, good recognition, atta girl, atta boy in the past year. That's ridiculous. We can do better, and it's free. This is my favorite CFO advice. This is free, and it will boost morale. So, are you celebrating your own wins? Probably not. So here's a simple way we have integrated in our life, and I've actually brought this to every single company I can. It's called the win jar. We keep a jar on our conference table, and people fill it with the wins of the week. And it can be as simple as Nikki brought chocolate, or Sarah closed a big deal. Chris helped with a video. Jack did this. It's everything that is good that happened that week. We print off client emails. We recognize kindness, and we just give gratitude in there. For instance, Catherine helped me with this webinar. I will write that in the win jar. She got things set up for me and helped me out when I needed it. That's going in our win jar. And then we read it at the end of our staff meeting, and everybody takes a couple wins and reads them out loud. So you don't get your own necessarily, you hear it from a peer. And it has revolutionized our business, and I've seen it change entire companies' morale among its leadership and staff. So that's something free you can do right now with any old jar, any old scraps of paper, and I hope you do it. It has been wonderful. You can do this with your family and recognize the wonderful things that are going on in your own home. So, because if you are, like any of us, you listen to these things, you go to seminars, you go to conferences, you're all jazzed up, pumped up, I'll start Monday, but then you forget everything hours from now. So I want you to take a moment and write down, and yes, please write it down. Don't just pretend you're going to remember. Write down one thing you'll do today to take action based on what you have learned, because you spent this time with me. You have invested part of your life on learning these tools. What is one thing you're going to do today to take action? Don't worry, I'll wait. You got it? Good. And maybe taking action is building your juicy good life with us. If you want help with that, with strategies for stress and success, we are here for you, girl and guy. We have a full year of the Juicy Good Life video coaching for just $9.97. And they are short videos that are designed to be shorter than your shower, because sometimes that's all the time we have, from wonderful life and business coaches who are really bringing meaty, good stuff for your life. You can take action today, and I'm throwing in a bonus because, hey, that's what we do. A training worth $700, all about social media musts and working on your own juicy good life and a plan of action for you. And that will help your life and your career. So just head on over to thejuicygoodlife.com/webinar and take action on that today. And I would love to see you. I do private Facebook coaching right off of that as well. And you get tons of good stuff as a member. So it is time. Build your own juicy good life. I so appreciate you taking time today. It has been incredible to spend time with you. And I just want to say thank you so much. And thanks for making the world a better place and building your own juicy good life. Have an awesome day. I can't wait to see you over on the members page.